it's Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astro-Numerologist. Welcome to Star Codes, the podcast where we look at an upcoming Astrology and Numerology Star Code event to help us navigate it with the most positive and optimistic perception. And in this case, it is the solstice. Winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, summer solstice in the Southern Hemisphere, December 21st, 2022. This one is so positive, so powerful. It happens at 9:49 p.m. and that's Universal Time in London, which is 4:49 p.m. Eastern New York and 1:49 p.m. Pacific LA. Now, on the day before the solstice, what makes it so optimistic and wonderful is that Jupiter, the planet of joy and optimism and expansion and wisdom, moves into Aries, the first sign. And as you probably realize, the solstices and the equinoxes are the 4 times in the year where we begin a new season. So with the winter solstice, we begin winter, of course, in the Northern Hemisphere, and it puts the sun at 0 degrees in Capricorn. And Jupiter arriving in Aries the day before, Aries is the sign that begins spring, is amazing because it sets off an Aries point. So Aries points are the points where the seasons begin. 0 degrees Aries, 0 degrees Cancer in the summer, Northern Hemisphere, 0 degrees Libra, 0 degrees Capricorn, which is what the winter solstice is. So 2 powerful Aries points are being activated at once by virtue of Jupiter's placement. And it's followed 2 days later on December 23rd by the Capricorn new moon at 1 degrees in Capricorn. 1 is new beginnings. The solstice is the new beginning of the season. The new moon is new beginnings. Jupiter's 0 degree placement in Aries, the first sign, is new beginnings. So you get the vibe of this solstice. It's very, very special and very blessed by Jupiter, which takes 12 years to journey around the zodiac to arrive in that 0 degree point at Aries right at the moment of the solstice is quite stunning. So Jupiter is all about expansion and really going for it, having a broad view and seeing beyond the horizon. And Aries is about actually acting on whatever it is that you are envisioning. So this is really fantastic news. Basically, everything is possible, and not that it isn't during other times, but you'll really get it this time. All is possible. But here's the really cool thing about Jupiter. As I said, Jupiter moves into Aries the day before, and then on the moment of the eclipse, Jupiter will be at 0 degrees 07 minutes of Aries. And that is actually quite significant because 2023, the new year, which is also upon us, another new beginning, is a 7 universal year in numerology. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3 and is a 7. So we are bridging, the solstice is literally bridging the current year, 2022, with the new year. And of course, the new moon following it at 1 degrees is also creating a surge of this wonderful new energy. And the number 7 itself is so beautiful because it signifies heaven on earth. Literally, the horizontal line is heaven. The diagonal line is a lightning strike of inspiration. And what it truly means is heaven is always here in your heart, as long as you listen for intuitive prompts, listen to Source. Source is you. And so that connection to heaven, bringing it and understanding that it's always been in your heart is really the key theme for 2023. And there's a lot more to 2023 beyond that, but this is the universal year. So this Jupiter placement at 7 minutes into Aries, so 0 degrees 7 minutes, is very significant as well. Another code to look at with this incredible solstice, it happens on 12/21/2022, and that date adds up to 12 in numerology. And when you look at those numbers, 12/21, 2022 adding up to 12, doesn't it remind you a little bit of the code that we had when the Mayan calendar and other calendars ended on 12/21/2012? So we have a revisiting here 10 years later of that ending, new beginnings energy, setting us free. Remember that 21 is our century. We're in the 21st century. The truth shall set you free is the ancient Egyptian meaning of 21. And it basically means that you feel free to explore joy by staying in truth and trust. So during this solstice, literally at the moment of the solstice, the sun will be square to Jupiter. Square is a 90-degree angle that usually causes some tension in order to get you to act, right? To like get off your seat and get going. Now with Jupiter, any square is really fabulous because Jupiter is so into opportunities, so into enthusiasm and being optimistic that the optimism then is activated, which is what we want. So this is fantastic for us to really feel that we have a real responsibility in terms of how we think about our life. So what is changing most and what needs to change most is how we mentally approach our life. So the smaller mind is very much about keeping things as limited as possible, getting feedback from the external, and not paying attention to that heart-brain connection. So when we live in the smaller mind, which is the thought mind, constantly thinking, which is the past, it's never fresh, it's never in the moment, we try to live up to definitions of perfection that have been habitual, that have been learned, that have been copied, emulated, imitated externally. So when we truly awaken, we leave that mental process completely behind and move into the heart, which activates the brain-heart connection, and we become source, we become sovereign, we become fearless. There is no fear in the present moment. And most of all, we trust. As I said before, the main reason for feeling afraid, being in fear, is not to trust that all is well. Trust has really been the only thing that has distorted and blocked our hearts from being fully engaged, right? So the higher mind has all that ability. The higher mind is connected to the rhythms of life, the solstices, the equinoxes, the lunar cycles, the galactic cycles, the astrology cycles. So the solstice is a time of miracles, a time of birth. And there's really nothing as miraculous as starting something new, starting a new life. In every breath from that new life that we carry forward, it's a brand new way to be if you allow that to happen. And so being in a place where you can, over the next few days, take the opportunity to be with family, it is the holidays, be with friends, and whether you feel they are awakened or not is not the point. Take the time to be with them. It is an opportunity to let bygones be bygones. And that is what being born means. A birth is cherishing the present moment, cherishing the time you have with them, letting the holiday be a holiday where everything is celebrated, everyone is celebrated, and you just are the truth of who you are. You are not trying to be a projection of perfection that you've learned, right? So truly, this is where you and everyone join together as beings of eternal light. That is who you are. That is who they are, whether they know it or not, right? So the world needs more heart. It needs a lot less separation. It needs to be felt as a world that's not created by definitions, which are what separate us. When we define something, it is defined in a way that makes it different, which separates it. So regardless of how the external appears to you, you don't want to contribute to that separation by creating more of it through definition of you belong in this group, I belong in this one, etc. Or you come across as this way, and my way is different, and all those things are stories that we create that we can repurpose now and completely birth anew. And so now we have the opportunity to have separation be the less dominant imagery that we attune to, and that we have the world of peace and harmony and caring be the dominant imagery of the world that we are living in. And that world is here. It's only up to us to live in that ascended world. So yes, we can be sad, we can have grief. That's because our world is based on sensory feeling. It doesn't mean that we can't be in a world where we constantly forgive, where we hear beautiful symphonies in the ethers echoing throughout eternity, where we can tell our families and friends, no matter what they present to us, we don't battle with them, but we literally love them. We don't define them. We just are who we are, and we just share from a heart-to-heart perspective. So really what you have now is the opportunity to be with friends and family, because community and connection are key, right? This is really where we're going now, is the connection between all of us. Your family and friends, you let go of all of it, because what you have to clear will always present itself in front of you. You will notice that so quickly. What you have to clear shows up in your life in any given moment. And so really the best advice that I can give is learn to enjoy this moment. Ask, if you feel tension, what it is that needs to be cleared. But learn to enjoy this moment, because this moment is the only moment you have control over. You don't have control over the past. You can't unchange something. You can't uncreate something. If you feel you've made a mistake, in actuality, you haven't made a mistake. It's just that you're now rewriting the energy. Energy is alive, so you can transform it, right? You can change the story of the energy itself, but you can't undo a choice that you've already made. So all it is to see each moment as a clearing moment, learn to make better choices, and that's really what awakening and ascension is. It's maturity, it's taking accountability, it is responsibility, responding. And that means being in a place of morality, integrity, morals, ethics, where we truly watch everything. We are aware of everything. Really, the key is to be aware. And if you go there, you will not undergo a regurgitation of something, a rebirth of something. You will literally let yourself be new. And that requires to stay in a space of forgiveness in every moment, because as things fall apart, as they are, they no longer have a reason for being here. They're no longer needed. And that's why we're experiencing the falling apart process now. We're allowing it to fall apart so that we can bring it into the light, remembering that we cannot undo what's been done. All we can do is make better choices. And so the greatest gift of this solstice is truly that you are going to find very, very rapidly that there is more acceptance of each other, of all of us, than there ever has been before. And that is one of the greatest gifts of Source, because together we are much more powerful. Together we become Source, because we are Source. We're not divided. So when you allow yourself to become source and allow source to work through you, the only thing that's going to remain is what you call yourself. Everything else is embodying source, because you've allowed everything around you to be released and become new in every given moment. You're letting source speak to you, speak through you. You're letting everything be source information. So it's actually sourced from source. There is source light, there is source love, there is source peace. There are no assumptions, there are no opinions, because it's not yours versus mine, because there's no emotion attached to it. You don't have a stake in the outcome, which is what happens when we start defining. We literally have a stake in the outcome, and then we have opinions, and then we have discussions which turn into heated discussions because of the emotionalization, right? We have emotions attached to the opinions themselves, which turns into an argument, and you know how it works. We've all been there, done that, right? So when you just let light be light, knowing that light is just information, it is neutral. It doesn't carry an emotional attachment. It just is neutral information. And you let love to reside and wrap your heart in a space around this light, this information. Everything starts glowing. And that's when you start seeing God in all things, without exception. So if the solstice is anything to you, it is to allow that light, that love, that source, the neutral source to flow through you, to release opinions, to live every moment in a space of forgiveness and letting go, so that you are born every moment. And that is a true solstice for you that absolutely will change everything, because you are then living in an ascended world. And you can be living on the same street with your neighbor, 2 houses apart, 2 apartments apart, and you're both in different worlds. So happy solstice to you and your family and loved ones. And if you want to know more about these kinds of spiritual topics that are very practical and down to earth, I have a free masterclass you may want to watch over the holidays. Go to spiritualmasteryclass.com. That masterclass is all about the secret to spiritual mastery and the important difference between individuality and uniqueness, and how your natal sun and natal moon have a profound impact on how to live in a place of abundance, and how to connect to source very, very quickly, and many, many more secret tools. It's really fun. It's free, and you can watch it at spiritualmasteryclass.com. So enjoy that. Have a beautiful solstice and a happy holiday. And I will see you in next week's Star Codes podcast. Lots of love.